This is part 2 of the Airbnb project in Sketchup. In part 1, we created the walls and the roof. And in part 2, we're going to create the doors and windows. So before we get started, I want to show y'all how to do kind of a cool little trick here, because what you can do is if you go to these views, you can save a view. And you can save your own view, and that way you can get back to that view anytime you want to. So to do that, and let me just delete that one. So make sure you switch it to perspective from parallel, and then you can get a good eye level view. And an eye level view is one that is basically your eyeball height. So you're going to see the underside of the roof overhang a little bit, and see how my horizon line goes kind of through the middle of the wall like that. So this would be a good eye level view, and it should take up roughly half of the width of your screen, maybe just a little bit less than that, because we're going to be adding on to the front of this building. So once you get a good eye level view in perspective, just come over here and hit the plus sign, and you can rename it. So I'm going to call it My View. Okay. Now, once you have that made, you can go to any view you want, and then you can always go back to your view, which is kind of nice. So what you can do is print and create a PDF of this view. And now that you have that view saved, you can create a PDF from the same viewpoint every time you finish a step. And what you'll have is sort of a time lapse, I guess, of this building as you're creating it. Okay, so now you've done that. Basically what we have is our wall is a group and our roof is a group. So I'm going to hide, right click, and hide the roof so we can work on the walls. So the wall is also a group. So what I'm going to do is select it and right click and hit either edit group or explode. I'm going to go ahead and explode it because we're going to be doing so much editing on it. Okay, so this window here is on my plan 5.5 feet wide and 1 foot away from the inside corner. Now, we measured from the inside corner when we did our measurements, so the wall is 1/2 foot thick. So from the outside corner, it's going to be 1.5 feet, because that includes the wall thickness. So I'm going to use my little offset tool, not offset tool, the tape measure tool, and make 1.5 feet. And then from that line, I'm going to go over 5.5 feet. The bottom of this window is at ground level. The top of the window is at 7 feet. So I'm going to create another guideline that's up 7 feet. And now I have some intersections that I can snap to. So I can either use the pencil tool or the rectangle tool. And now if I use push-pull, you can see that that is a separate thing. Don't use push-pull, I was just showing you that. All right, now to make this window look realistic, we're going to use the same tools that we did when we made the third tutorial, when we did that room and furnished it. In that tutorial, it showed you how to make windows look realistic by creating the frames and the mullions and all the parts of the window. And the way that most of that was done was with the offset tool, or a lot of it was. So you can use this offset tool, and I can offset, and we're just kind of guessing. I'm going to make it about 2 inches. And then what you want to try to do is make this window look as much like the window that you used in HomeStyler as you can, because we want, as much as we can, to make the inside images and the outside images look the same. So whatever window you had in HomeStyler is the window that you should draw in SketchUp. Okay, and you can draw lines using the line tool. You can draw rectangles. You can use offset. Whatever it is that you want to do is totally fine. Oops. And I messed up, so I'm going to delete those lines. Oops, undo. Always make sure you're selecting the line and not the shape. Delete. Okay, so now I can push pull. And remember, you can push pull back to match existing faces. And I can delete this line and this line. And then I can pull this one out a little bit to make a frame, and that's a much more realistic looking window. Okay, so you're going to be using those same techniques to do all of your doors and windows. Okay, all the way around. Once you get done, you can hit delete all guides. And then you can do unhide all and get your roof back. And then you can go back to this view and you'll print it again using that same view once you have all of your doors and windows in. And that will be the end of part 2.